Yo, what up, though? I want to welcome everyone back to the Doghouse, powered by Real Sports Talk. I'm your host, Cash. How's everybody feeling today, man? I'm feeling good. I'm day drinking on a Sunday. Life is good, man. Hope everybody doing well out there. This is episode, I want to say four of the Doghouse. It's going real good. I appreciate it. And we got some stuff to talk about, man. Uh, definitely. Uh, 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 I don't want to say crazy card last night, but an interesting card to say the least, right? Um, Listen, there was some good stuff on this Boots card last night, and the Matchroom card on the Zone. Um, I'm just gonna get into it, man. The preliminaries were great. Preliminaries were good. The undercard was decent. There was some good fights, but right now we're just gonna chop it up and talk about the main card. You know what I'm saying? If you only know, let me set it off like this. If you only know, I got three favorite fighters: Boots, Devin Haney, Jose Benavidez. Those are my three guys. There's a lot of guys I like, Shu, and I like the Vargas dynasty, and and obviously Abdul Mason, and Khalil Cole, and there's a lot of guys I like. Keyshawn. There's a lot of guys, but those are my three. Those are my three. Those are my three main guys. Skilled guys with power, pop, and Devin ain't really got like super pop, but he's a dog. He's a dog. He's an assassin. He's a technician in that ring. He's got heart. He want to scrap at anybody. So I put Devin there, man. And I'm actually, it's off topic, but I'm actually eager to see him. I think everyone is on this Brian Norman card along with Benavidez and Yard, but that's going to be interesting to see, man. I'm interested to see him get it popping. Shout out to Brian Norman Sr. He's been on the show before. Gentleman, smart dude, looked out for me. So I'm kind of torn with that. I hope both them brothers do their thing, man. But let's talk about it last night. Let me take this little shot. Shout out to all my people watching. Now look, let's talk, man. Let's talk. Let's keep it real. Player to player, pimp to pimp, right? The opposition last night in the Boots card. Jose Lima, whatever. Usima Lima, whatever his name is. The people I hear people cracking up about him, calling him Limu my emu and all this crazy shit. But Lima, whatever his name was, no disrespect. I don't think anyone really expected him to give Boots a challenge, right? You know what I mean? Like nobody thought that, right? Eddie and Eddie Hearn. Listen, Eddie does a great job. He's a great promoter, man. He does a great job of spinning things. He's a master at spinning things as a promoter, man. They find a guy, an obscure guy. Nobody really knows about him, but they can prop him up, right? They can prop him up and they can say, look, this is a perfect fight for Boots. This guy's ranked at 54. He's tough. He's never been stopped, right? Boots wants to get acclimated to 54. This isn't a regular tune-up. This is, this guy's ranked, and the kid looks young. The kid looks in shape, and Boots wanted to see what 54 felt like. And, a perfect way to usher this soft tune-up in, right? And listen, I'm gonna give Boots a pass. Listen, I'm not mad at him. He moving up from 47, jumping to 54. There's a lot of killers in that weight class. Probably the best division in boxing, right? Probably the best division in boxing. So he goes up to 54 and he cooks this kid. He cooks him crazy. You know what I'm saying? And what does Chris Mannix and these guys talk about? And Eddie, he's a guy, he's a ranked guy, like I said, at 54 on paper. So yeah, is he ranked? Yeah. Has he ever been stopped? Now he has. So that's all true. I get it. You know what I'm saying? It was a good way to spin really a bullshit touch, a super soft touch. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, I'm not mad at that. He wanted to get acclimated to 54, and I don't think anyone really thought this guy was going to last. I'm not sure if anyone thought he was going to get knocked out in the first round, but then again, we never really, not too many. I'll admit, I never saw this guy, but I wasn't mad at it. Did I want the Brian Norman fight at 47? Yeah, but that ship has sailed away, and us and Brian Norman Sr. talked about it, and everyone's talked about it. YSM and Mill City and the boxing voice. That's all. But I definitely wanted that. Hopefully, in the future, we get that fight. Probably at 54 or whatever they meet at. But that's definitely a fight. These guys are young, they're in their prime. Boots a little bit older than Brian Norman, but that's a fight we all want to see. But Brian Norman has to handle business at 47 with Dev. So that's neither here nor there. Did I want the Virgil Ortiz fight? Yeah, who didn't, right? We wanted it at 47. We wanted it at 54, right? You heard talk, negotiations, even hearing, De La Hoya and Eddie Gomez and Eddie Hearn and Matchroom talk about it for a while. Somehow the fight didn't happen, but it seems like it's gonna happen. But listen, I get why it didn't happen at 47. Virgil, he was having trouble. He was having some sickness. And I understand the politics of boxing at 54. Sometimes you don't get the fights when you want, but I think now that he's activated at 54, he said he feels good. You heard him call out Virgil last night. You heard Eddie Hearn basically say that he's matter of fact, let's play this clip from Eddie Hearn. This is him talking about the potential Boots Virgil Ortiz fight that could happen early next year. Let me just play this, then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. Here we go.
We even they said, let's do it in Dallas. I said, let's do it in Philly. And we all agreed, let's do it in Las Vegas. We went away on those terms that we agreed. We presented them to Jerome Boots Ennis. He signed the contract. We've never heard back from them. This week, Eric Gomez called me and he said, look, let's get Lubin out of the way and then we will do our bit to try and make the fight. So we give them the benefit of the doubt. I know Oscar wants to make great fights, but we are desperate for that fight because we're desperate to give American boxing super fights of 2 pound-for-pound guys in their prime. Not 2 guys that are in their late 30s, not 2 guys that are coming to the end of their career, 2 guys in their absolute prime. So if everybody's true to their word, you will see Boots against Ortiz in early 2026.
Sounds good. Sounds amazing. Will we get that? Hopefully, hopefully we'll get that. 2 guys in their prime, absolutely. Who doesn't want to see that? And it's the green print, right? It's the Mexican come forward, tough guy who throws a lot of punches, guy who got power, against the slick black fighter, if you will. So that's the green print, right? So hopefully we'll get to see that. You know what I mean? Like, forget about who didn't sign what. Let's get this fight together now. Like I said, Boots in the post-fight interview, it might have been I think it was post though. He said that he was a little weak. He didn't say that. I'm saying he looked a little drained during media, last media week of before the fight. But he said that he felt good. He looked like he hydrated really good. He looked like he was strong when he hydrated. He said normally, like the last workout of the week before the fight, he doesn't feel like doing anything. He feels lethargic. He said this time he was moving around. He said he felt himself. You know what I mean? He felt good. He felt spry. He felt strong. So he's adjusted to 54. And he also, right, we heard Eddie Hearn just now talk about how they're going to put that together. Eddie Hearn talking real slick last night, said, I'll bet the house. He said, Boots beats everyone at 54, 60, and he said, dare I say 68. So they're setting the bar high for Boots. Listen, I think Boots can do it. I think Boots is one of the most talented guys in boxing. And you heard names thrown around like Devin Haney and Brian Norman and obviously Virgil Ortiz. But Virgil got to handle business, man. Virgil got Erickson Lubin issues right now. Which is a very, very difficult matchup. You know what I'm saying? That's not a thing Virgil wants to take lightly. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if Virgil. I'm not saying he necessarily 1,000% wins that fight, Lubin is going to have the deck stacked against them a little bit because they're looking at this. They're looking at this Virgil Ortiz, Jerron Boots Ennis fight as a big money fight and a huge super fight, and they're right now competing with Turkey Al-Sheikh. You heard somebody say, "So you don't need a Zoloft belt," and Eddie was like, "Nah, you don't need a Zoloft belt. Whatever that new thing Dana White and him is doing, whatever it's called, Zoloft or what Zoloft or Zufaf or whatever the fuck it is." But he was like, "Nah, listen." And De La Hoya, Eddie, Bob, when he gets back in the game, negotiating his whenever he gets his network deal or whatever doing wherever top rank lands, guys like Boxer and DeBella and you know Tom Brown and the Cubas and Al Heyman and all these guys, you know what I'm saying? Uh they're gonna have to band together, and they know it because Turkey. Listen, say what you want, but Turkey is putting on big time fights. It may not be fights that necessarily everyone's calling for, but there's still super fights with guys in their prime. And Eddie Hearn alluded to that. Two guys in their prime, not towards the end of their career, like Canelo and Crawford. But I love that because both those guys have a lot left in the tank. So it's not like that fight expired, like I felt like the Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather fight expired, and even the Bud Crawford and the Errol Spence fight to a certain degree was kind of a little bit late, a little bit past his expiration date, and Spence's, you know, that's another day to talk about. But Spence didn't seem like himself, and he was banged up. But I take nothing away from Bud. Bud did what he had to do. But these two guys are smack in the middle of their prime. Like I said, it's the green print that Mayweather always talks about, the come forward Mexican, the guy who pounds, pause, against the slick black fighter who also has a ton of fucking power and is strong and he can move and he has footwork and he's just a super highly skilled guy. But like I said, Virgil Ortiz uh has Erickson Lubin problems. Now Erickson Lubin, I love Lubin, man. I love the hammer, man. He's a dog, man. He is an absolute dog, and he's a live dog, and he is not just gonna lay down. And if I'm De La Hoya and them, listen, I like this fight. I like that I like that Virgil Ortiz took that. I'm not taking nothing away. I fuck with Virgil. Virgil get busy too. You know what I mean? And Virgil, yeah, he's a come forward fighter and everything, but Virgil got some skill with him. But Lubin has been through some wars. Obviously, we know about the Fundora fight. Uh, the Goucher fight. The Ramos Jr., whatever, not as much, you know what I'm saying, and his last fight, but he took some real punishment from Dora, and they say when you get punishment like that, and Fedora took some punishment as well. It's not as one sided as some people think, you know what I mean. When you take punishment like that, sometimes it takes a little bit off you, Not I won't say life, not gonna what, but just you as a boxer, you know what I mean. So we're gonna see. I think he looked decent in his last performance. Yeah, he got the win against Holmes. He got the win. Um, so we're gonna see. You know what I mean? There's no to me. There's no clear cut winner. What I go Virgil 50. It's a 50-55, maybe 55-45, right? Something like that. You know, definitely something like that. And it ain't no slam dunk. But let's say. And then I also heard something what else, which is crazy, that De La Hoya and them said, well, Boots is not their top target or whatever. That's insane. What do you mean it's not their top target? You know what I mean? How is it not their top target? This is the fight everybody wants at 54. Straight business, right? But let's say there's a lot of dogs at F54. You know what I'm saying? You got Chuck, even though he's coming off the loss to Adams, which is a really good fight, by the way. Good for him. Adams wins the second time. You got Zayas. I like the Zayas. Listen, Zayas comes with a strap, right? He comes with a strap, the WBO strap. And you could do that fight in the Garden. I'm from NYC, right? Philly's right in our backyard. right now, Jersey is really in Jersey's backyard, but Jersey's right there. It take me an hour and a half to get to Philly with no traffic. So Philly's gonna travel. They'll come up to the Garden. Super Puerto Ricans in New York, as we all know. So a lot of Puerto Ricans. That's why they like Xander to fight here. You know what I mean? That's why they was having Belanga fight here a lot, and dudes like Henry LeBron, and you know, because a lot of Puerto Ricans they come out to support their fighters. Then you got the Philly guys coming up here to support their fighter. It comes with a strap, so that fight makes sense. Now, will you know? Will Bob Arum and them and Eddie do business? Yeah, I don't see why not. I don't see why not. Right? Like I just said, they have to start doing business. They don't have a choice anymore. You know, Turkey has squeezed them. But you got guys like that. You got guys like, we know the Keith Thurman fight has been postponed. That would have been a name. I don't know. We don't know if it's a decent matchup because um we don't know what Keith looks like. We saw him against the Australian kid. That's a whole other story. He looked good, but that's not a top tier guy. So we want to see, we'll see what happens when the Fedora fight gets rescheduled, what card it lands on, or it might even be on the card already. I might not even be up on that. But guys like this killer's in 54, right? Bakram. We all want to see Bakram. Even guys like Santillan. You know what I'm saying? Guys like you know listen, Boachuk, even though he's coming off a loss, he's still a more credible opponent than Lima. Guys like, like I heard they talked about Josh Kelly. I don't know if I like that so much. Conor Ben, he's busy. He's fighting that rematch. So, you know, listen, there's guys he can fight. Zayas, Fondora, Lubin, even a Lubin fight. And I don't. They said that when they mentioned possibly fighting Lubin, Boots didn't sound so enthusiastic. I didn't get that. I didn't get that at all. So like I said, there's a lot of guys at 54. Can he conquer that 54 division? Maybe a Chris Eubank down there. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's guys right now other than um other than excuse me, Ortiz. Even though I want the Ortiz fight, that would make sense. I shouldn't say make sense, but be a decent fight. So we're gonna see what he is. We're gonna see what he does. Boots, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, we got Ortiz, Fondora, Madrimov, Lubin, Boachuk. You know, does Ramos move up? I think Ramos might have moved up. Adams, Zayas, uh, 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 Keith Thurman, um, dudes like that. So there's a lot of killers. Even throw a Josh Kelly, throw a Conwell in there. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Tim Zoo. Like if we don't get that fight, I'd say number one would be Virgil Ortiz, just because of the marketing ability, and then I think number two would probably be Xander Zayas, also because of the marketing ability, and it comes with a title, and the geographical location makes sense. So listen, I'm excited to see what's in the future for Boots. I don't want to hear about the Terrence Crawford fight. I heard Bernie the boxer on there, kind of not shooting him down a little bit, but just kind of throwing a little bit of cold water in his performance. And I get it. A lot of people feel that way too. But it was. You got to take it for what it is. It was a acclimation fight to get adjusted and acclimated to 54, and that's all it was. And a way to sell tickets in your hometown, and a way to keep Boots active. You know what I'm saying? So Eddie Hearn, we gave it this one. You can't sell us shit and tell us it's sugar next fight. You guys got to make a big fight happen. Oscar De La Hoya, you got to make a big fight happen as well. There's no longer are you guys going to be able to hide your fighters and give guys soft touches and charge guys a lot of money. Them days are over. You see Tank is running for the hills. Them days are over now with Sheik, Turkey Al Sheik in the game. We're going to have to start seeing credible big fights with guys in their prime. And that's what it's all about, right? That's what it's all about. And it doesn't matter if you lose a fight. You live to fight another day. We can't throw fighters away when they have a loss on their record. That whole Floyd Mayweather era, we're changing it now with the whole, I got an O and I'm scared to let it go. No. we can't throw fighters away when they lose. Do they have to build themselves up back through the rankings? Yes, some guys more than others. Some guys have bigger names, but we gotta be able to let that go. So like I said, I don't want to be too long-winded. I'm about to get up out of here, but we got a lot of good potential matchups at 54 for Boots, and we'll see what he does, man. If he goes in there and he cleans up 54, then he starts carving his name into the history books. And if he goes to 60 and 68, whatever it is, I'm excited. I'm a Boots guy. You already know what time it is. Eddie Hearn, De La Hoya. Let's make this fight definitely happen. If he gets past Erickson Lubin, like I said, that's not 100%. But anyway, that's my time here. I'm out. Please hit like, hit subscribe, share this. I hope you enjoyed this content, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.